All right, we're about to go on a fascinating journey, all centered around a single, sustained sound. We're going to trace this eternal hum through time, through culture, and through some wild technology, all the way from ancient spiritual practices to the most experimental modern art.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a question that sounds like it's straight out of a movie. Can you actually make art from the sound of a volcano? Well, believe it or not, an Indonesian artist named Lintong Raditya is doing exactly that. So he's taking actual volcanic sand and using it to create a very specific kind of sound in his art. It's a sound that's called a drone. But to really get what he's doing, we've got to figure out what that word even means.
Yeah, it's a word you've probably heard before, right? Maybe you think of bagpipes, or maybe some kind of electronic music. But what is a drone really? And how in the world does it connect a volcano to a monastery?
So let's dig into it. Let's explore this idea of the enduring drone, starting with a simple definition and seeing how it blossoms into this concept with incredibly deep spiritual roots, stretching back thousands of years.
Okay, so here's the textbook definition, but let's break that down. Just think of it like a sonic anchor. It's this continuous note that everything else in the music kind of revolves around. It's the foundation, the canvas that the melody gets painted on.
And, it's not just one single thing. A drone basically comes in two flavors. You've got the continual drone, that's the long, unbroken hum you might be imagining, and then you have the rhythmic drone, where the same note is pulsed over and over to create the steady, repetitive beat.
And this is where it gets really powerful. I mean, beyond all the technical stuff, the real magic of the drone is what it does to our brains. That continuous, unchanging quality can be totally hypnotic. It can pull you into this really focused, almost meditative state.
And people figured out this power a long, long time ago. In Sufism, for instance, the concept of Zat represents the absolute, the silent, motionless, eternal source that all sound and all matter comes from. The drone is kind of the closest we can get to hearing that primordial stillness. You see this idea put directly into practice in the Islamic tradition of dhikr. This is all about repeating prayers or phrases, a form of rhythmic drone, and it's used as this incredibly powerful tool for remembering and connecting with God.
And it doesn't stop there. You find a really similar idea in Hindu spiritual practice. When you hear the elongated chanting of Om, that's creating a continuous sound wave, a vocal drone. The whole point is to move your awareness inward, away from all the noise of the world, and toward this center of stillness inside.
So if we want to see this concept in its most refined and iconic musical form, we've got to go to India. This is a place where that single, sustained sound is the literal bedrock of its entire classical tradition.
And at the absolute core of that tradition is this incredible instrument, the tanpura. Its only job is to create this sound. It's ancient, it's got 4 strings, and its entire purpose is to create that continuous, rich, resonant drone that you hear underneath almost all Indian classical music.
And here's the key thing to understand. This isn't just background noise, not at all. The drone from the tanpura is like a living library. It holds all this crucial information about tuning, about resonance, about the quality of the tone. It's the ultimate reference point, the canvas for the whole performance.
All right, now let's do a complete 180. We're going to jump from those ancient traditions straight into the cutting-edge, avant-garde. There's this amazing scene of sound artists in Indonesia who are taking this idea of the drone and just completely reinventing it.
So these artists are part of a movement called sound art. And the main idea is pretty simple, but also kind of profound. They aren't using sound to represent something else, like a feeling or a story. No, the sound is the art, the vibration, the raw material of sound. That's the medium.
A lot of this movement in Indonesia was really kicked off by pioneers like Slamet Abdul Syukur. He came up with this idea called min-max, where he'd take these tiny, minimal, everyday sounds, like, say, a drop of water, and maximize them into these huge, immersive compositions. He basically taught a generation of artists to listen in a whole new way.
And that legacy is totally alive and well today. You've got artists like Nursalim Yadi Anugraha doing just mind-blowing things. He's creating these drone compositions by mixing industrial technology like air compressors with traditional instruments from the Dayak people. Then you have other artists taking a completely different route. Take Ranga Purnama Aji. Instead of physical objects, he's using the language of modern computers. He's using algorithmic code to reinterpret that ancient drone, generating totally new soundscapes based on old Javanese music.
And some are looking even further out for their sounds, way out. Monica Hapsari creates her drone pieces from the static hiss of an old TV signal and even from a sonic simulation of the Big Bang itself. She's finding that eternal hum in the noise of the universe and our own technology.
And that, right there, brings us all the way back to where we started. To Lintang Raditya, who's using his art to explore the drone of the Earth itself, capturing that deep, resonant vibration in the actual sand from a volcano.
So, what do we make of all this? We've gone on this huge journey, from ancient spiritual chants to the drone of an air compressor, from a sacred instrument to the hum of a volcano. What is the one thread connecting all of it?
Well, I think it really comes down to this. This whole exploration just completely challenges how we think about music versus noise and what we decide to call art. This quote from Max Neuhaus just nails it. These labels are totally subjective.
The journey of the drone kind of suggests that the real difference isn't in the sound itself, but in the simple, conscious act of listening. That eternal drone is everywhere. It's in the hum of your refrigerator, the rhythm of cars on the highway, the chant in a temple. So the real question is, which sounds have we been taught to hear as music, and what might we discover if we just chose to listen a little differently?